So in order to pass the A plus, you have to pass two exams. If you go and pass this one, still you are not A plus certified. You have to go to take the second one. The second one, the software, is anything you see in your computer. We're going to discuss everything you see in desktop, anything here, what is taskbar, how you manage your taskbar, what's the performance, how do I know which one is running out, the CPU or the hard drive or the memory, if you have like running out of memory, how do you know, and what's the history, what's the startup application, how many people logged in so far, details about things running in the background called services. Like here, you're going to have over 200 services running in the background. You should not know all of them, maybe one or two, such as a printer, like a print spooler. And so we're going to cover the software, everything about here, not only this one. This is the main thing called control panel. Pretty much the software covers an 85% from here. This is how you troubleshoot your computer. This is how you add users to your computer. If you want to create more users, you want to create a user. This is where you add users. So you go here, right click, new users. That's how you create users. How about this user here? I need him to be a member of the administrator. Like I want him to have more power. So go to groups, you go to administrator, and then add the name here. This part, we're going to cover it in the software. So the software is more fun. And I would say the harder one from both the A plus exams. The software kind of harder a little bit than the hardware. So we're going to cover everything here. Or the other way, you go through it by going to settings. It's the same thing, either here or there. These are the two things you're going to play with when you go to the software part. So we're going to cover everything here, pretty much everything. Things you need to understand, we're going to spend more time on it. Things you need to memorize just to pass the exam, we're going to mention it. I'm telling you, don't worry about it now. When we go to question and answer, before you go to your exam, this is when you memorize it. So a lot of things requires to be memorized. If you have a short memory, tough luck. So, but it's not hard and it's not easy. If you give it the time, you will pass. Believe it or not, within 3 months, you're going to be A plus certified, which is you're going to pass the hardware and the software if you do your part. How about if you pass the A plus and the network plus? I mean, both the A plus, the hardware and the software. There is another one called network if you want to go for more advanced. So what's a network? Network means instead of you troubleshoot one computer, you troubleshoot 2 or more computers, which is a network. We know in the future in this course. The beauty of the A plus, it covers about 40% of the network. We already have it here. So once you are A plus certified, you want to go take the network, you're going to spend maybe another 3 weeks if you attend the course, or 4 weeks, you will be A network plus certified. Once you finish, network means 2 or more computers connected together in order to share resources. So the network, I don't know if I have it here, means how can I make 2 computers or more connected together so they can see each other and they can share resources. So what is standalone versus networking? So if you have one computer by itself called standalone, so the A plus is going to teach you what's a computer, what's a disk, what's a monitor, what's a keyboard, what's a mouse, what's inside this this box here. You have a motherboard, you have a lot of components. That's the hardware part. And also the hardware, you're going to learn about a network, which means, how about at home, I have 5 family members. Before, everybody used to be standalone. So this guy by himself, he does not see this guy, so everybody works in his own or her own computer. How about this guy has a printer? If it's standalone, if everybody wants to print, so I have to buy 4 printers. How about this guy has a DVD player? If everybody wants to watch a movie, so everybody has to buy a DVD player. How about someone has a game, Fortnite, so everybody has to buy. So in this case, it's going to be very expensive to buy 4 printers, 4 softwares, 4 DVD player, 4. Instead of this one, they said, let's say this guy have only one printer, and this has a DVD, this has the software, this has the internet access. Let's buy a middle device called a switch and connect everybody to the switch. If everybody from these 3 wants to print, they don't have to buy a printer. They can print to this printer here. This guy wants to watch a movie. He gave the DVD to this guy, tell him, please put it in your DVD player. I'm going to watch it from here. He wants to play this game, has it. So tell him, please share your game. I'm going to play it from my own machine. That's what's a network. So network means you join 2 or more. The minimum of how many computers? 2. How about if I have only one computer? It's going to be odd. So it's not a network. So network, you have to have a minimum of 2 computers. Connect them together within a device called a hub, repeater, or a switch. In the future, we'll know which one is better. Switch is better. 95% in the whole world, they use switch to connect computers instead of using hub or repeaters. So that's a network. So definition of a network means 2 or more computers connected together in order to share resources. What do I mean by resources? Can it be a hardware? Yes, this guy has a printer, so he's sharing his hardware printer. Everybody can print. Can it be a software? Yes, this guy has a Fortnite game, so everybody can play, but only one person has it as a software. So resources could be a hardware or software. And this is the definition of what? A network.
I have a question, please.
Go ahead.
So the connection should be wired?
So we cover, yep. So the network could be wired or wireless, wired or wireless, called LAN or WLAN. This is we cover and how you connect them, wireless or wired. If wireless, this guy has to have antenna, and you have to use something called 802.11a or N or G or AX or AC. We'll talk about everything. So we're going to talk about how you organize them. How about like you want them like one backbone, this called bus, or this called star, or token ring, or mesh. There are different ways to physically connect to 2 or more computers. We're going to cover all the way, and how after that one, like after I do the network, how can I can make sure they see each other. Like if I go right click here and start, don't worry about it. If I go to File Explorer, it opens this one. On the left, I go all the way down to network. I should be able to see everybody who's joined in here. You see now I see one machine and I see another, maybe whoever is joined here, I should be able to see them. So how can I see this person? What does he have to share? This guy has a printer, has a file folder called Linux. Click on it, I can see. So this guy, he's not in, let's pretend like he's not on my computer. This is different guy. But he shared the stuff. I can print it to his. So we'll see how you make things shareable, how you connect to 2 or more computers together, how you troubleshoot a network. Someone cannot go to the internet. How you know there are certain ways to troubleshoot. They call it troubleshooting steps. There are 7 steps. You got to go to the first one, second, third, and so on. So all this we're going to learn it on the hardware and the software. So the hardware is not going to cover only a PC, also is going to cover a printer. We're going to talk about inkjet, bubblejet, daisy wheel, and we're going to talk about laser. About 80% we're going to cover the laser. The exam, you're going to get about 8 to 10 questions from the laser. It's more important to understand. The rest are easy, so I'm going to tell you just memorization. But when it comes to the laser, we're going to explain what is a laser, what's a drum, what's a photosensitive, what's a wire corona, what's a transfer corona, what's fusing, and so on. Also, the A+, the hardware covers the network. So the hardware, this one is not only about the components of a PC, it's also about the printer and a network. So when we come to the software, like I told you, everything in the computer here also is going to cover the network in more details. How can I make a network? How can I configure IP address? What's an IP address? Is it IP version 4 or IP version 6? Mainly we're going to cover IP version 4, also IP version 6. How you add an IP address? What's the IP address? How about subnet mask? Why here 2525 3 times? Why is not 2 times or 1 times? What's the DNS? We're going to explain everything. Once we are done with the A+, now after you finish and you are A+ certified, what's the next step? And this is, you're going to talk in more details. You're going to do subnetting. What's the subnetting means? Like we run out of IPs. IPs means like your home address.
Excuse me, Mr. Ismail. Someone tried to join online.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's your name? We're going to get a bonus as well. I guess Brother Ahmed joined him.
I don't know.
Thank you, Amira. Heliopolis. She's from Heliopolis. Right, Amira?
Yes, right.
Rich people live there, right?
Yes.
Yep. So I'm a good friend of yours, remember? Okay, so that's it, the software. Once you're done with the A+ hardware and software, now you got to move to what? Network. So this one, it gives you more details. Like someone already established a new business. He has 1,000 employees. So he called Verizon and say, Verizon, I have 1,000 employees. I need 1,000 IPs. They're going to laugh at him. Say, are you crazy? We ran out. We're going to give you only 2 IPs. Said, how about the rest? Nah, like 998. They said, do subnetting. So subnetting means you work around the limitation of IPs. You're going to break one IP into so many IPs. That's called subnetting. So the network is going to teach you about subnetting, how you troubleshoot a network, how you establish a network, how, all this one in what? Thank you. All this one on the network.
Further by offering a university education.
दो एग्जाम पास कर लिए हैं मैंने एक भी नहीं किया अभी तक
Nice joke, my friend. Please mute.
दो ही है ना
Rijan, please mute. I muted you. Don't unmute now. So that's it, the network plus. How about the security? When you go to the security, you will see about 55 or 60% already covered in the A+ and what? Network. So you're going to study about 40%. Security, you're going to like it the most because this is, I would say, the easiest exam amongst the A+ and the network plus. This is more fun, like hacker, what's ransomware, how people hack your system, what kind of software, how they know your password, how they guess it, how. So this one, it teach you about real stories, how to protect your network. So the A+ means how can I build a computer, how to like reassemble, how to install Windows 10, Windows 11, how to troubleshoot. Network, how to collect 2 or 3 computers, make a network, how to troubleshoot, and how. Security means you already have a PC or you have a network either at home or work, how you protected them. So this one about protecting your own items. Can it be the hardware? Yes, you just want to protect your laptop, cannot be stolen. By doing what? By doing something called encryption, which means if someone stole the computer, I can encrypt it. Encrypted means I change all the data inside my computer from readable to unreadable. If this person was able to hack my username and password, it's still the information there unreadable. He cannot understand it. So usually at work, they don't care about the value of the laptop. They care about the data inside. For them to buy another laptop like change, nothing. But the data there worth $millions or $billions. They don't want anyone to steal it or to use it against. So security teach you how you protect your building. Someone come into your building, you have to have a fence. How about this one was able to manage to jump over the fence? How to have like a CCTV or bodyguard or dogs? How about he manage? So the main building has to have a key, door. You have to have a key. How about I care? You have to have a fingerprints or voice recognition. How about he managed to go inside? You have to protect your server room. How he managed? You have to protect the server. How he managed? Protect the folder to the file, which is the smallest part. So this is going to talk about hackers, like black hackers, gray hackers, white hackers, blue teams, red teams, purple teams. Like it's going to be fun. and it's easy to understand and to pass the exam. So how about
one thing I want to clarify, all of this stuff is not in this class. So so A plus is this class, then Network Plus is a separate class, Security Plus, which is cybersecurity, is a separate class. So this is 3 separate classes he's talking about, to clarify. So we're not learning no red team and blue team and cybersecurity in this class. We'll touch a little bit on it, and then I think on the software portion, we'll go over a little bit of cybersecurity. But this class is mainly focused on CompTIA A plus hardware and software.
and also network
And yeah.
and security, but small portion.
Yes, yes. So we'll touch on the topic of networking. Actually, we'll actually expand. Yeah. So we'll actually networking. We'll go into great detail in this class. The CompTIA A plus security, cybersecurity. We'll just touch on it. So we'll just touch on it. If you want to go in depth in cybersecurity, that's a separate class. John, you have a security plus, right?
I'm interested in that.
I thought you were certified as security plus. You didn't take it.
What's your question?
So you said Network Plus is another 4 weeks, right?
Yep.
And then how long is
5 weeks.
Well, for our program, it's 6 to 7 weeks.
6, 7 weeks?
And then Security Plus is 7 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
This class is 12 weeks.
Okay.
But the good thing here, if you're A plus certified, here is only 1 exam. A plus, how many exams?
2.
So the network is 1 exam, the security 1 exam, and not 2.
I can take security without taking A plus and networking?
Because remember I said about 50 or more % already cover where? In A plus and network. So they assume that you have a background knowledge. So they go into depth. That's why it's better to go in order.
You said that whenever you do the Network Plus, it covers A plus. When you take the exam, you'll cover the
Correct.
certification for that.
Yep. So if you A plus certified and then after a year you go, this is valid for 3 years. Each one is valid for 3 years. If you take the A plus, and let's pretend after a year, like here you pass the A plus in 2020, and then you pass the Network Plus in 2021. So the Network Plus automatically is going to renew the A plus for another 3 years. How about you pass the security after the network? So whenever you take the security, automatically is going to renew the A plus and the network. And then after 3 years, if you want to renew yours, you don't have to worry to renew the network and the A plus. You only renew what? And this automatic is going to renew the A plus and the network plus. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's a PC? PC, personal computer, right?
Yes.
Before the PC used to have the hard drive in one room, the keyboard in another room. That's before. That's when Ahmad was born. It was like big deal. But now you have a laptop, which is the whole PC. You can carry it with you. So they come from bigger to smaller, so they advance. But PC in general means hardware plus what?
Software.
So this is the part hardware, the first exam, and the software is what? The second exam. Hardware is anything I can see and touch. Can someone name some hardware for me? Any hardware?
A mouse.
Mouse, printer, motherboard,
Keyboard.
hardware, keyboard. So anything you see and touch is what? Hardware. Software, you cannot see it, you cannot touch it because it's codes, programs. But usually you installed it inside what? A hardware. Like a game. The game is codes, programs, but installed it inside a hard drive or USB or DVD or CD-ROM. So the software, when we go to the software, the definition of a software in general is set of instructions. So software is set of instructions. Set of instruction, which is the other word for it, codes or programs. That's the definition of it. But we know the software, we have 2 kinds. One called program or application, and the second one called operating system. So what's the difference between application and operating system? So
The operating
application
system is more powerful than the
and
application, the
application,
program.
correct. So when it comes to the application, it's a set of instruction, but to accomplish only one task. What do I mean by one task? Like for only one thing, such as what? Microsoft Word. Word, I use it only to type. Like here, I'm typing using Word. Can I use it to play game? No. Can I use it to show me direction? No. Can I use it for anything? No. So programs or application means to do only what? One task. Could be a game like a flying airplane, just play it for that, or Fortnite or a Fortnite. So only one task. How about the other definition of a software? The other definition is a set of instruction to control the activity of the whole PC. Remember, PC is hardware and what? So who control all of them? What do we call it? Such as we're going to talk about DOS, disk operating system. This is the old one. This is the very old one. This is the black screen. Also, when we go, we'll say like, what's a DIR? How about I do DIR? It tells you I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So this is non-friendly. How about MD, Ismail, DIR? So I see here I made something called Ismail. I don't need it. RD, Ismail. If I type DIR again, it's gone. There's just Ismail here. It was there before. So show you how you make a folder, how you make a directory, how you make a file, how you make a small virus or a small to hack into someone. That's about the operating system. What's the other operating system? This one. So there are two different operating systems. This is the first one, black screen, called DOS, and this called GUI. So when it comes to the operating system, we know they have two different interfaces. One called GUI. Anyone remember from the first class, GUI stands for what? And the other one, which is this one, the black one, called what? You remember it stands for what? Command line interface. So all the operating system, they come with two different interfaces. Do you want the GUI or do you want what? The CLI. Which one is friendly? GUI, because if I need to click on this guy, just click on it, it opens. How about there? I need to open the same one. What's the name was hello. So here you have to know where is hello. So I know hello under desktop. So here I say CD desktop, and then here dir, and I should see here a file called hello somewhere. Here is hello. I need to open it. So you got to say type hello. What was it? .exe? Where is hello? I don't know what's the format for this one. PSI. Well, that was made by PowerShell, really. So here is you see, this is the same. Write host hello world, write host hello world. So anything you do it with this one, you can do it with the GUI. But this one, you got to know what you're doing. So this one is non-friendly. And he told me this is like was very old. This is when they started the computer, talking about 50 years ago. So why do we still using it? It's very important for troubleshooting. This is all the hackers. They use CLI. They use something called PowerShell to create scripts to hack into someone. So this is extremely important for troubleshooting and for more stuff. But the easiest one is what? The GUI. So that's what we're going to learn when it comes to the software part. Any questions so far?
Yeah, so that was just an overview exactly what A plus is about. So don't get confused. Everything that you heard him talk about, we will go into detail. We will do labs. We have a lecture. We have the CertMaster learning system, the lab system. So don't be confused. Everything he talked about, we'll go into detail. This is a 12-week program. 12 weeks. You're going to cover all of this stuff in 12 weeks.
Which means hardware and software.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What does GUI stand for again?
Graphic user interface.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So before we go to our slides, to the PowerPoints, the last part you got to know about the computer. Why do we need a computer? Because we have a request. I don't know what's 1 + 2, or I don't know how to go from here to DC, or. So I need someone to work on it, called processing, and give me what? The result. In IT terminology, we don't call it request and result. The request, we call it what? And the processing is processing, and the result, we call it output. So in IT, input means you need to input, like, I don't know what's 1 plus 2. So what do I need to use in order to input 1 plus 2? I use what? Keyboard, mouse, and touch screen, right? Those three here call them, or these three call them input devices in this exam question. So the keyboard is input because I use it. I don't know what's 1 plus 2. So I open my calculator, I type, or I use the mouse, 1 plus 2. Once I say equal, so someone is going to work on it inside my computer. Who's this someone? Could be the motherboard, the hard drive, the CPU, the memory, the expansion slots with the operating system, which is Windows 10 or 11. They work on it. And then once I say equal, it's going to send me a requests. It's going to send the output where? Into the screen, or I can hear it, or I can have it as a what? Printout, right? So monitor, speakers, and printer, they are what? Output devices. How about the processing? Processing could be your what? Here is the processing here. This is could be your.
What about the scanner, sir?
The scanner, what is it? Is it input or output? You tell me. It's input. Scanner is input because I need to scan my picture and save it inside the hard drive. It's input, an input device. So processing CPU, we're going to talk what's central processing unit, what's hard drive, what's random access memory, and so on. Plus the operating system, which is Windows 10. Without operating system, there is nothing called PC.
Somebody can't join class online.
Thank you. Ahmed, you're doing your work.
No bonus from me, huh?
No bonus, no pizza. Okay, so that's the whole thing. Last part, you got to know in computer, we don't use A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3 here. We use on or. That's the computer language. The human language, we call it decimal or hexadecimal, human language. But when it comes to the computer language, because the computer works using
binary language.
Binary, thank you, Ilham. So use binary. Binary means voltage, either on or off. That's the computer. So the computer has to convert one into on and off, has to convert the plus into on and off, which means, oh, he's doing addition, has to convert it to into on and off, is so means a plus, and then work on it as on and off. So everything under processing means on and off, and then send the result to the language you understand, which is back to decimal. So that's bit means either on or means only one thing. Byte equal to how many bits? 8. So they could be all of them off, or could be combination of on and off. Or Russia.
Thank you.
You have your math con? Or could be all of them what? On. I'm just kidding. So that's called byte. Byte equal how many bits?
8 bits.
How about kilobits? Kilo means 1,000. So roughly is 1,000, but actually is 1,024, which is 2. In the future, you're going to do 2.
1,024 times 2.
Say it again.
Yeah, 1024 times 2.
Yep.
Millions.
What I'm trying to do.
1024.
We'll see in the future, like all this number, how to convert. But this is 1,000, which is?
Try to the power of 16.
16?
Yeah, try it. I want to see.
2 to the power of 16. Anyone knows what's the result of 2 to the power 16? It's going to be 65,560.
Oh, wow.
6. So if I do this one, 2 to the power of 16.
Wow. You're a math genius.
No, I'm not, but because this is when you do subnetting, you got to memorize all this one and so on. So anyway, the idea here is what I'm doing here. So the idea here is Byte is 8 bits. Kilo, 1024. How about megabits, which is 1000 times 1000? It gives you roughly what? 1 million. How about gigabits, which is millions, which is million equal to millions times 1024? Actually equal to what, roughly? How about terabyte, which is billion times what? 1024. How much it give you? And that's how much money Ahmed has in his account.
A trillion shillings.
Yep. So we know in the future how to convert to one into this. This is means one for the computer. This means two. This means three, and so on. And we know this means and so on. We'll know this in the future. So now we go back to our slides. Any question before we go to our slides? This is the part we're going to cover during all the classes, and this is the first lesson. First one, explain cables. So I'm going to go with the slides, but usually I would prefer to go with motherboards, but we'll go based on this one. So explain cable types and connection. So first we got to know the whole thing here called what? System case. This is the box here. This called what? System case. System case, they have different. They have a small, I'm going to show you when we go to hands-on, different kind of boxes or system case. This called all-in-one. All-in-one means not this is all-in-one. All-in-one is, anyone knows what's all-in-one? Laptop. You see the monitor with the keyboard, with the mouse, all of them in one unit. Or if you have a Mac machine, you see the monitor has everything connected there. This called all-in-one. Is it good? It's good. Takes less what? Space, right? Does it have a disadvantage? Yes. If one thing is bad, the whole thing is what? Is gone. So everything has good and bad stuff on it. So side panel. So if you go to the side panel, like here, actually the side panel on the side. So if I open any box from the side, like let's pretend this is online, you should not be able to see it, but here, the front side, this one here, the side panel which is here. So if I want to open the side panel, I don't know how to open this one, but let's see. Okay. Let me just join with the camera here. Can you turn the light on, please, Ahmed? Thank you. Okay, so online, can you see?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
this is the front side. Usually at the front side, you have the light where you can see the hard drive is on and off. So you see lights, and also the lights on the top here, and you have a DVD. You have a DVD player. You have a hard drive. You cannot see it. You have a USB. This is the front side. The back side, you have something called connectors. Connectors, which means everything. This is for the monitor, called VGA. This is for all the modem and mouse, called MAL 9-pin. You have PC2 for keyboard and mouse. You have USB. You have actually this is display port. You have a USB. You have RJ45. You have a sound card. Everything here called built-in, which comes built-in. How about this one is bad? So we know in the future you open the motherboard, the box, you can add more. Here also you have the power supply. We're going to cover the power supply, which does two things: convert AC to DC and gives certain amount of voltage. And this is DVI. How about if I want to open the side one? It's different from computer to another. Ahmed, you give me something broken, or you're testing me here? There you go. So this is the side. So the side, you open it in order to upgrade. You want to add more memory, or you want to change the fan for the CPU, or you want to change the DVD player. If you want to change the DVD player or the hard drive underneath there, or the power supply or the memory. So everything here, if you want to upgrade or change the hardware. So that's about the size of the computer. You have three: front, back, and side. So this is the front, where you see the lights, where you see the sound card, the USB. We'll know in the future the difference between the blue and the other USB. Also, you can have some measure, like reading, tells you overheating. DVD, see the light. The side panel, this is where you can upgrade more memory or remove stuff. This is the back side. Everything here called built-in, anything here called expansion slot. We're going to explain it in more details. It's where you have your power supply and so on. And peripheral devices or components, you have input and output ports. This is the one we talk about it, like from the back side. We're going to cover each one of this one. What does USB, how does it look like? What's the difference between USB and DisplayPort and HDMI and VGA and DVI and whatever others there. And binary data storage, talking about USB or hard drive. Your USB is a storage. We're going to cover more details about the storage. Storage means where you save your data. What do I mean by data? Could be pictures, resume, documents, music, video, anything you need to save it in a DVD or a CD-ROM or USB or hard drive or Blu-ray. Call what? Binary storage. Why is binary? Because it converted into on and off. So everything saved in your hard drive are on and off. On and off, we call it what? Binary or digital. Bi in Latino means two, which means either on or off. Someone trying to, congrats.
Thank you.
You passed the hardware part. Was it hardware or software?
It was software 1102.
1102, okay. That's the hardest one. Okay, so the USB, you have different type of USB. So now we're talking about the connectors here. So the USB here, like each cable has start and end. The start all the time, the one attached to your computer, laptop, server, your desktop, called USB A. So type A, this is the standard one in your computer. How about the end of the other side? Could be like this one for a printer, or could be USB type C, this is for your iPhone, or could be USB, what is this one? 3, and this is for like an external hard drive, or for BlackBerry, or for digital camera, or this is external hard drive as well. So all the time, the one side is A. But now with the new technology, they come up with C. So you see both sides here and the end is C, because new computers, new laptop like mine, it has a C and A. This is a way faster. This is 20 times faster than what? Than A. So this is a way faster. So all the USB, they start with A. The end, it depends. Are you using for printer or for USB, for iPhone or Samsung or whatever? That's the USB. USB stands for what? Universal Serial Bus. Whenever you see hot swappable, it still is what? USB. Whatever you see plug and play is what? USB. So why they call it hot swappable, the USB? Because once the computer is on, like now, I can plug my USB and I'm going to see here, it tells you USB is connected. So the system will recognize it when the system is on. I can turn it, I can unplug it while the system is off as well. So USB, like, anyone has a USB thing? Here, I have it. I have so many here. So I'm going to add a USB here. So my computer is on. Once I add it, I can see it here. Let me see it. See, it recognize it. We hear like a sound, and here, this is the information. I have my USB. So the computer recognizes it while it's on. That's called hot swappable. And this is the best thing with USB. You don't have with the old computer. If I want to add a mouse, a keyboard, a USB, I have to turn off my computer, totally turn it off, shut it down, and then insert the USB wherever, and then turn it back on so the BIOS will recognize it. We'll talk about BIOS after this one. But now with the new laptop, desktop, new computers, they call it what? So do I have to turn my computer off or just plug it in? Plug it in. So hot swappable means you don't have to turn the computer off. Once you plug it in, the system will recognize it. What's the other name for it? Plug and play. Any question about this one? I'm going to jump it. I have to memorize it. Even if I want to go take the exam, I have to memorize it. But USB 1, only one. Used to be 1.5. Transfer. Let's say I have a high 17. Let's say it's 2 gig. 2 gig of. If you bring this kind of the old USB, it might take about 17 minutes. Because transfer 1.5 megabits per second. This is, you read it what? Megabits per second. How about last time I showed you? How about this one here? This one 200 megabits per second. How about this one? Byte. When you see the uppercase B, you read it as byte. When you see lowercase b, you read it as what? Which one is bigger? Byte. This means 8 times bigger than this one. So everything here is megabits per second. For the exam, you got to know the speed. So if I have 2 gig, it might take 17 minutes with this one. With this, maybe it takes about 11 minutes. How about with this one? This maybe takes about 5 minutes, from 17 minutes to 5. How about with this one? Maybe it takes 1 minute. How about with 3.1? It's going to take 7 seconds. So whenever you buy USB, make sure you buy what? The latest one. How do I know? By the color. The blue one is 3. The red one is 3.3, which is the latest one. 1 and 2, they are black, the USB. But start blue from here and red from there. So you got to know the speed of it. So that's about the USB. So USB has 2 kinds. All the time, the one goes to the computer. What type is it? Type A, remember. But the other types, C, B, whatever goes to the device. This is for printer. This is for so on and so on. So now we're talking about HDMI and DisplayPort. Now we're talking about the one goes to your monitor, to the monitor at home, or to your plasma TV. This is the one. So we need to know the difference between HDMI. This is HDMI. This is DisplayPort. What's the difference? HDMI has 2 curves. This one has only 1 curve, the other one is straightforward. So here,
we have cables over there.
yeah, on the hands-on, we're gonna show it to them. So in the hands-on, you're gonna see all this cable. You have to differentiate between them. So your laptop or your desktop, before you wanna connect your monitor, before connecting monitor to your, let's say, what is connecting monitor to desktop? Cable. Sorry for the cable thing, but it's cable. So here I want to connect need a picture like this one here. You need to connect like your laptop to your plasma TV or desktop to your monitor. So what you're gonna use? Those are everything here. Connecting monitor to desktop. Yep, so this is my monitor, this is my desktop. I need to connect it. So I connect it through VGA or something called VGA, video graphic adapter, or high definition. This is for multiple input. This is for HDMI or DisplayPort or DVI. So everything you see here is how you connect to a monitor or a projector or a plasma TV. So this is the whole, they call it display card. There are 4 types to connect to a monitor. Can you name them? So this is how they look. These are the four. Once you see them, when we do hands-on, when you see them on the back of the computer, you have to know them by just looking at them.
Which one is the better one to connect?
Which one is the better way to connect? So here is the question here. I need to connect to a plasma TV. Where was the plasma TV here? Like here or plasma TV? Here, no, not this one. Monitor to. Anyway, you need to connect. You need to connect laptop to plasma TV. So you need to connect this one, your laptop, to the plasma TV. Which one the best to use? Because now we have how many options? 4 options. Which one do you think you connect to? And
The
why?
DVI.
Okay, so let's go to each one. If I use VGA
HDMI.
to connect my laptop to this plasma TV, this is a monitor. Let's pretend this is plasma TV, okay? So, and you want to see a video here. You have the video there, but you want to see it in the bigger screen. The VGA is gonna transfer the video, but the sound still will come from where? From the laptop. So in this case, you have to be closer to your laptop to listen. So that's for what? VGA. How about if we use DVI? DVI exactly like a VGA. It's going to transfer only the video. The sound comes from where? But the DVI is a way high quality. The picture will be high quality than what? VGA was the first monitor resolution. It's very low resolution, and this one usually is 800 by 600. If I go right click, I go display setting. If I go to the resolution here, this is the resolution. The lowest one, this is the VGA. This is the lowest VGA, but the display port, the DVI has so many, but the HDMI has the highest, and DisplayPort has the highest one. So DisplayPort is better than them if you want to do high quality image. So if I use the DVI here, I'm going to see the movie, but still the sound comes from where? But the resolution of the movie will be better. How about if I use HDMI and DVI? Both of them, they're going to transfer both video and audio to the plasma TV. So in this case, you're going to hear a surrounding sound, same like from your TV. So the best thing you use what is HDMI and DisplayPort. Which one is better? DisplayPort is the latest one, higher quality and faster. This is the difference between them. All of them, we use them for what? Monitor, display, plasma TV.
Hello?
DVI, we have the sound.
DVI and no, DVI, the sound still comes from the laptop.
So DVI
And VGA.
is the same.
Yep.
Hello?
Yes.
So you're saying that it goes from DisplayPort to HDMI to DVI to VJ.
So VGA is number one, the oldest one. And,
Oh, my bad. I went from the highest to the lowest.
yeah, from the lowest is VGA, and then DVI, and then HDMI, and the highest one is DisplayPort.
Okay.
Right.
If you want to connect Wi-Fi, we don't want to share my screen from like laptop to TV. So we don't need to use any cable. So what's the difference? Like why we should use cables?
If you want to use a Wi-Fi.
Yeah, like for example, I have a laptop. I can share my screen, my laptop screen, with TV, and what like sound, everything will be inside the TV. Like I can have everything.
Yep. So now the latest one you can do that one, but here we're talking about the old computers. So for the exam, you got to know still, because even my laptop, mine does not have VGA, but has display, has HDMI, and has USB-C. But for the exam, you got to know all kind of display.
Or the quality of picture will be different. Like
all the time, the wired is better. All the time, wired is better than wireless. Anyone knows why? Direct.
No delay.
no delay. Why there is no delay? Because if you use wireless and the same time you talk on your phone, they're gonna interfere. That's why they tell you if you have a wireless at home, if you want to talk in the phone, go outside, because they call it cross talking, or they call it the other way, they call it attenuation. We'll talk about it in the network, the different. Also for the exam, the DVI, you got to know they have different types.
Can I add one more thing? So basically, wireless is not as reliable as
Wired.
If you have to choose between wired and wireless, for reliability, you choose wired.
So I think maybe we can say wired is more secure too.
Wired is very more secure.
Yes.
Wire is dedicated just for data transmission, but Wi-Fi can be for anything in the house, so it can be.
Yep, correct.
Yes, more interference. So that's why. You got your answer now? So we got interference, more reliable and more safe.
For the DVI and the exam, they have different types. So if you want to buy a DVI monitor, make sure is it DVI A or D or I. For the exam, DVI A only for analog. Analog is a very low quality image. Digital is better quality image. So A stands for what? And D for? And the last one called I for both, supports both, either analog or digital. And this exam question. So which one support analog and digital? DVI?
I.
Which one only digital?
DVD.
Which one only analog? A. Also, I have seen a question. This is, they call it single. So the A does not come in both, like both sides, only call it single. But the D has what? Single link and dual link. Also, the I has what? Single link and the only one has single link is what? And this exam question.
Question.
DVI, I don't know. But let's see. Why you try to harass me here?
I have a question.
Digital video interface for that one, but for it's a digital video interface. What is DVI A stands for? Digital visual interface, integrated. So this one is integrate both analog and digital. So now I know new thing.
I have a question.
Go ahead online.
Now for the exam, can you scroll back up real quick? Now, is it gonna be like, we have to know like the actual look? I mean, yes, the look, but like the actual dots and in the.
No, I don't think they will bring this one, but you got to know the difference between the DVI A, D, and I.
Okay. But do we need to know the link?
Number of pins. I don't think it comes like this way. I haven't seen a question comes like, you have to count how many pins here.
Oh.
So this is what's the difference between analog and digital. The difference is analog, you can have 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.2, and then 2, 2.1. But the digital, there is nothing called 1.1. It's either on or off. Which one is more quality? Okay, so that's about it. Thunderbolt is another one, but usually Thunderbolt used with Mac machine. Mac machine, if you have a Mac, it's magnetic, right? If you bring it closer. So this is, it transfer both data and also for charger, for like power. But mainly Thunderbolt version 3 is equal to DisplayPort. Has, like, this is a very good quality. The latest version, which is version 3, is the same as DisplayPort, which is better than HDMI. So this just memorization part when you see it in the exam. For Mac. This is sign for what? Thunderbolt. Now for the hard drive. For the hard drive, there are cables as well. We know the hard drive, you have something called SATA and PATA for hard drive. I don't know if I have done this last time. This is the display port. Yep. So the hard drive, we have two kinds of hard drive. When we talk about storage, we're going to talk about everything. What's the jumpers? Why is here? Why is not there? Why this is 40 pins, but this is 7 pins? Why this is 4 pins, but this is 15 pins? This is for the power. Anything in the computer requires to be connected to the motherboard. So we connect to here with the cable to the motherboard. And this is to give power to the hard drive. This is called Molex 4-pin. This is data. This is data connector, and this is power. How about the SATA, which is more powerful than PATA? This is called PATA, Parallel Advanced PATA, Parallel Advanced Technology Attached. This is a single I said parallel, single advanced technology, whatever. So this is the same hard drive, but this is more powerful. This is for the data to transfer your picture or image to the motherboard. You need 40 pins. If you count how many pins, there are 40. This is, here are 7 pins only. This is the power 15. Here is power 4. You got to know this one for the exam. We're going to see it hands-on.
Mr. Ismail,
Yes.
we still have same problem with the mouse cursor. There is too
When
many.
it comes to image, I have a problem I had because this is image has, but the small part, the top, I'm talking about the top one, the top hard drive, the small golden fingers, there are 7 pins. This is to transfer data, and the one right to it is 15 pins larger. This is to transfer power to the hard drive. The one underneath it, you see like 40 pins. The hard drive that's down there. This is to transfer the data. For the SATA, the 7 pins. For the PATA, the 40 pins. The down there on the left, there are 4 pins for power. The top one are the 15 pins, the bigger one for power. So this is the one you see here, the black and blue. This is how you connect on the motherboard, the hard drive for the PATA, which is underneath it here. So this is PATA on the motherboard. This is the hard drive. The 4 pins here next to the arrow for power, and all the way to the end of the 40 pins for data. So we'll see this one hands-on. Don't worry about it. Again, see this one, the circle one says power, and here, and this called data, and this called power. SATA only does 2. This one 7 pins, and this is 15 pins. This is for the PATA. You cannot see this one mainly for in one hard drive. This is, you see it for SATA. PATA, you see this one, and you see the 40 pin here.
So you said this single and parallel. What's the stand for? The single, which one is single?
Single is SATA.
Right.
Parallel is the PATA, the old one.
What's single?
Single we know in the future. The PATA, you can have 2 devices. So let me show you, but we'll cover it on the hard drive in more detail. But since you asked, what is PATA versus SATA? And in the future, this is the PATA, this is the SATA, and we see the PATA support to 2 devices at the same time. You can have a hard, this goes to the motherboard, you can have a hard drive and DVD, or hard drive and hard drive. So this support to 2. But this SATA support to only 1 hard drive, and this goes to the motherboard. We'll talk about it in the future. Okay, back to our slides. So this is the power, and there is external SATA. External means not internal like the one I showed you here. Like this is inside this one, the big hard drive in the top. This is inside the computer, you cannot see it. But you can have external one like a USB. So what is external SATA? Motherboard in a computer. So this is the same like a USB, but the hard drive is external, the same like external hard drive. So it has this connector to connect it. This they call it eSATA. This one for inside, connect inside the motherboard, but this one from outside, the same like a USB or external, like same like a printer. You connect it to USB. This external, they call it external SATA for hard drive.
What's the difference in external and internal?
External, the same like external hard drive. So the question here was external and internal. So here I have external hard drive. I'm gonna turn the camera on. So this is external hard drive, but this is a USB external hard drive. This is 2 terabyte, so big. So this I use it for my backup. All the time you use the external hard drive or USB for backup. If something wrong happened to your hard drive, you still have the backup there. Or you can use it to transfer stuff. So this is USB. Instead of having USB, it looks different for SATA. Could be the same, but the connection is different. They call it external SATA, which is external hard drive, rather than what? Internal. So
Question, sir. I'm sorry.
you're good. Don't be sorry.
So the wireless screen sharing is because of Wi-Fi or Bluetooth? For example, I'm sharing my screen here to another.
Yeah.
So is it through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth?
Bluetooth.
It's Bluetooth.
Bluetooth only to pair two devices together. Wi-Fi for internet access. It's the major difference
Yeah, so
between them.
Wi-Fi has nothing to do with the screen sharing. It's just because of the IP and all that.
You can do the Wi-Fi for printer as well. The printer, you can print Wi-Fi.
But not screen sharing.
But screen sharing, they have software like what they call it, quick assist. We'll talk about this in the software. So we cover personal computers. What is personal computers? This is the hardware plus what? Can anyone name some peripheral devices, mean components? Keyboard. Yep. So we'll cover everything in more details. Universal serial bus USB. What's the other name for it? Hot swappable and
Plug and play.
plug and play. Is it plug and play or plug and pray? Play. Of course, you have to pray too, right? HDMI and DisplayPort, they are only for what? Graphic. They call them display card or graphic card. Thunderbolt, this is for Mac, and this is for two things, for transferring and for power, right? SATA, this is the hard drive for storage, cable types. So now I'm gonna go through, where is it? Maybe it's under here. Just I'm gonna show you some images to finish this part. Hardware images, is it hopefully? Yep. So I'm going to go through each one of here. And this is, we cover all the components now. First, I'm going to go through the BIOS. And you have to understand this part, very important. So what's a BIOS? Basic
Basic
input
and output system.
system. It's a very tiny chip in the motherboard. So in the whole motherboard, when we open the motherboard, which is inside the box, there is a very tiny one. Sometimes it's very hard for you to locate it. Where is it? Some of them that has a foil written on it, BIOS, basic input output system. And all the time is next to what? Battery. This is the only battery you have. All computers, being laptop, desktop, servers, iPad, every device, it has to have what? Battery. And this battery is connected to the BIOS. The only job for this battery connecting to the BIOS, we'll know in the future why. Why this BIOS is important? The BIOS, this chips is extremely important and called basic input output system. Basic input output system. So why is it important? So here how it goes. When the computer turn on, when you turn on your computer, What is BIOS? Check in hardware. Let's see if this one makes sense.
It's detected everything's working right.
Yep, so this is the one checks everybody's working right. Once you turn on your computer, everything is inside the computer here. Like what is motherboard components? So once you turn the computer on, the first one who wakes up, the BIOS. So this is a motherboard. This is a motherboard here. So once you turn on your computer, here is hard to tell where is the BIOS, but all the time is next to the battery. So this is South Bridge. This is CMOS. Here is CMOS battery. Could be this tiny one. I know you don't see it there. See, do you see the online? Do you see my mouse?
Yes, but it's a little.
Yes,
Yeah,
No, we
one.
cannot see it. It's confused.
It keep
I know.
moving.
So it's a little like a T or I. Next to it, all the way there is a says CMOS battery here. On the top of it, this is a tiny chip, could be the BIOS. So the first one wakes up in your computer all the time is the BIOS, which is this image. This is the first one wakes up in your computer. And this called post. You got to know this word for the exam. Call a post. So post, wherever you hear the word post, post stands for power on self test. So whenever you turn your computer on, once you start the morning, daytime, once you shut it off or you turn it back on, the first one wakes up in your computer is this BIOS. This BIOS. And this never dies. It dies. But because all the time is connected to what? To the battery. So all the time is connected to this guy. This one keeps it alive.
What happens if that battery dies?
I'm going to come to you right now. So this one only connected there. So what's in here? Every hardware in your computer, every hardware connected, like let's say in my laptop, I go to something called Device Manager. So here in my computer, all the hardwares, from batteries, Bluetooth, cameras, computer, disk drive, monitors, network, sound card, anything connected inside my computers, my laptop is listed here. So once you turn on your computer, the first one wakes up is the BIOS. The BIOS has the basic information of all the hardware. Whoever made this laptop for me, the company, once they created, they gathered the information of each one here, the name, what's the speed, what's, they put it here. So this has the basic. Once you turn your computer on, this one, the first wakes up. It says, oh, am I alive? So this is called power on self-test. And then it goes and checks on all the hardware. I didn't mean that. Not you, not you, not you. And then it goes and checks on all the hard drive, all the hardwares in your computer. Did I close it? Okay. Anyway, it goes and checks all the hardware. The first one it goes check is the monitor. The first one. Where's the monitor? Here. Say, hello, monitor. Are you there? Are you DVI or VGA or DisplayPort? When the monitor say, yes, I'm here, it's going to move now to the CPU, Central Processing Unit. You don't have to know the order. It's going to go to this CPU here. The big square, red, white, is going to go. CPU, are you there? Yes. Are you 3.1 gigahertz speed? Yes. So it goes to everybody, checks. Memory, the blue one. Are you there? Yes. Goes check the memory. Goes checks in everybody. So checks in anyone on this list. Let's pretend my keyboard. Where is the keyboard here? Here. The keyboard was not plugged to my laptop or to my desktop. So it's going to show you in black screen. It's going to show you keyboard is missing. Please plug the keyboard and press F1 to continue. It's not going to continue. So keyboard is missing, error. And let's say what is, so it shows us. It's going to show in black screen, tells you keyboard is missing or keyboard error. Please plug the keyboard and press F1 to continue. Keyboard not found. So now it tells you, hey, I just checked. So this guy is there, but keyboard is not. So you say, oh, so you plug the keyboard and you press F1, and now it's going to check on the rest. The last one to go and check on the BIOS is what? The hard drive. So the last one is go check is the hard drive. If I'm going fast, please let me know. What is BIOS? Checking hardware. So checks everybody the BIOS. The last one it goes to is the hard drive. Where is the hard drive here? Storage. So the hard drive is going to say, yes, I'm here. I'm 1 terabyte, and this is my speed, 10 revolution per minute, 10,000, I mean. So now the hard drive, the hard drive has the operating system there. Now the hard drive is going to go to this guy here called what? BIOS. Tell him, thank you. You checked everybody, including myself, storage. Checked everybody. I'm the last person. So now, please, thank you so much. Go back to sleep, and I'm going to load the operating system. And now you see, welcome to Windows 10. What's your username and password? So without the BIOS, your computer will never, ever start. The question was, I'm going to come to you. He said, how about if the battery is dead or is gone? The lifespan of the battery is from 4 to 10 years. How do I know if it's dying? If you see the date and time keep changing, you fix it. You come the next day, change it again, so clearly indicate the battery is dying. Now you need to remove this battery. There is a number here, start with CR2032. You see it here? Online, do you see the number CR?
Yes.
So look it up and go to Best Buy, tell them I need this size. How about if I take it out and I go to Best Buy? You remember this one is a memory. It's going to lose all the data. So everything here will be lost. Once you start your computer, it's not going to show you anything. So you should never take it out. Write the number, and then in order to replace it, to replace the bad one with the new one, it's better to go to YouTube and say, how can I replace the battery for Dell, whatever the brand name? They'll tell you, okay, press here or press there and there. It's going to pop up, and then insert the second one by 45 angles. You have to know it, because if you are late, you take your sweet time, everything here will be what? Deleted, lost. That's the BIOS.
So how long that should it take? Like, how many seconds do we
Now with the new technology, if you're even late, it's okay. It's going to change only the time, but it still retains the information in a backup for the hard drive, whatever. But before, it should be less than a minute.
Less than a minute.
Yeah. What's your question, Daniel?
My question is, now since all the computers are connected to the internet, doesn't the time automatically goes to the real time?
No, it's still all computers that have their own BIOS.
Yes, but when you're, like, for example, time change, right?
Correct.
If a device is connected to the internet, like your phone or your computer, it will change the time automatically.
Yep.
It's not that
It does, but it goes with this battery.
It starts with
It
that.
start with this, because this is the one start your computer, and then you go time change and then adjust by script.
Like adjusted automatically.
Yeah. So you have to have it. And we'll talk about, there is something called NTP, Network Time Protocols. It will answer the question as well.
Is there any other symptoms apart from the time changing that they take care of?
This is the main thing. And actually, I'm going to tell you a story about happened to work. So I was heading to work. Usually I start like 8:30, 9. There are some users who start early, like 6:30 in the morning. So I was heading to work, and they called me and they said, we cannot log into our computer cannot log in. We know in the future there's something called Active Directory. So one called me. I said, okay, try to restart your computer. She said, I tried several times. And I told, I know others come. How about, what was her name? How about Nancy? She called and Nancy said she cannot too. So I said, okay, I'm coming. And once I went there, I checked the active server. server this, everybody, when you log in, please pay attention. So once you come in the morning, once you turn your computer on, the BIOS is going to check everything, and this when you reach it to what? What's your username and password, right? After this one, it tells you to login screen. Login screen, which is what's your username and password. So it comes after that, what's your username and password, right? So when they reach you this one, usually once you put your username and password, it goes to something called a domain controller. Active Directory. It goes to Active Directory domain controller. So here you log in. So your username and password goes to this Active Directory. This has a database. It says, yeah, the name is K Smith, the password is Summer, whatever. So say, yep, it's you. You are logged in. So once they try to hit this server, they cannot log in. So once I came in the morning to the server room, I went to this server. I looked, I saw all the lights are on, like everything is perfect. I was able to access it, like I couldn't. So I moved all the users to the UK. We have a server like this one in the UK, London. So I moved everybody to log in from the UK server. So the one in DC, like it took me half day. Everything seems okay. And just I looked by accident to the time, I saw it was 10 years behind. So it was, why 10 years behind? Because Active Directory, you have to be precisely exactly the time in all over the world with the different time, 5 hours behind, wherever. You see here, if you go, it tells you like we are 5 hours behind the UK. You know, -5, you know what I'm talking about? See 5 hours, date and time here. See here, it says -5. Here it says -5, which means we are 5 hours behind the UK. If you go to another like Pacific, you will see it like you see sometimes -3, sometimes +8 plus, based are you west of the UK or east of the UK. So anyway, make sure, story short, I went to here, I noticed the BIOS, the time was the BIOS, the batteries died. So I fixed it. Everybody, I put them back to DC server. They were okay. I came the next day early in the morning. I saw the time also went back again. So I just replaced what? And since that time is good. So that's what's the BIOS.
So after we change the battery, you didn't set up the date and time. It's automatic.
You need, most of the time you need, but everything else retain it. So you can just go make sure the time is correct. But the main thing, it retains of what? All the hardwares. Is this clear? Yesterday, someone asked me about Y2K. Was you? You have? So Y2K. Y2K was not my birthday. My birthday was 2010.
Yeah,
So,
I almost write it down.
yes, thank you. So Y2K stands for what? Year 2000. So what means? It means the computer in 1999, like before year 2000, in December 31st, 11:59 p.m. So 1 minute. So the computer has to be 2000, right? So companies, airplanes, government, they were worried. Like a year before they start testing their BIOS, they want to make sure when it reached to December 31st, 11:59 p.m., the BIOS is going to show 2000 instead of showing 1900. If it shows 1900, everything will collapse. Airplane will fall down, nuclear bomb, because it's a disaster. Everything relies on what? On computer. So the whole world panic a year before that. So they come up with a script. Like companies, they have millions of computers. Instead of going from machine to machine to test it, they run a script. But for you at home, you do what? You just go change the date and time to December 31st, change the time to 11:59 p.m. and wait for what? 1 minute. If it goes to 2000, you're good. If it goes to 1900, you should change. So that was Y2K. So the main idea of Y2K because of what? Bias, which is, yeah. Is this clear?
Well, how we can about the BIOS? How do we know that it's not working and how we can change it?
The date and time.
Right, on the chip or on that.
Oh, yeah. There are only 3 reasons you have to upgrade it. When we talk about the memory, because this BIOS is a memory. We know that it has something called read-only memory, programmable read-only memory, electrical programmable read-only memory, electrical erasable programmable read-only memory. So the last 2, they call it flash. You don't need to worry about it. You just go online and update it. So the BIOS, and this is very important question even for yours. How about I need to update the BIOS? So you go to, let's see your computer HP. You go to hp.com.
It depends on the brand computer you have. So whatever brand you have, you go to their website, and then it'll show you how to download the driver. Last time, the
So
last
every
class,
computer needs to update the BIOS, or?
It's recommended to update it, but I'll tell you when you need to update it. Go ahead.
So yeah, so the last class when you guys, the people, half of the people from last class, you guys did the imaging, but we didn't do the driver upgrade or update. So what happened is when I was using one of the laptops, the HDMI wasn't working. So when you install Windows system on your machine, make sure you update all the drivers, or else you'll have certain components that's not going to work. So yeah, so it's a driver update basically.
So that's exactly what Ahmed talking. Like if it's Dell, you go to Dell.com, and then you go to what? And then you go to. Once you go there, it's going to ask you about your computer. If it's the same one you're using to go to the internet, it's going to be easier. If it's the same one, it's going to be easier. But here it asks you, what is it? Do you need it for printer or laptop? Let's say I'm going to need it for laptop. You want to use the same one? If the same one, you click here. How about I'm using it for different one? So just type, what is it? Let's say folio. This is folio 13. Let's go with any one of these one. Let's go to this one.
So enter the device name.
Yeah, your laptop name. And it should show you a picture. It tells you is this one. If not, so it tells you this is the one. If it looks exactly like the one. And now we just, once it comes, it tells you what kind of operating system. It's use Windows 10, 11, the one you have in your system. And then you hit enter, it shows you so many drivers. I don't know why it takes forever. Once it shows you all the drivers, you go to BIOS and download it, run it. Now it's going to update your BIOS.
You can go by serial number as well.
You can go by serial number as well. But you have to go to HTTP. I don't know why it takes forever. Let's pick another one.
Mine is Java. I'm gonna go Java.
So you let's go to anyone
So
else.
I'm gonna get
So Windows update doesn't recognize the BIOS update?
Windows update.
Does it recognize?
It does somehow, but it's not recommended, especially for servers, because it might ruin your server, and your server has to be online. If it's down for 3 minutes, you're gonna lose millions of dollars. Anyway, so I don't know why it's not less anything. Anyway, so
How do you know that the BIOS is not working?
your computer doesn't work.
Like what's the other symptoms? Like
There are 3 ways if you want to upgrade your BIOS. First, if the BIOS is damaged, so your computer has issue. In this case, you call your computer, they send you one because you cannot download it. Number 1. Number 2, if you install like a high-speed CPU, very high speed, the old BIOS does not recognize it after you put it. So upgrade the BIOS so it recognizes the new. The last one, when there is a virus. They love to go to the BIOS to ruin your computer.
so the problem, sorry, the problem like if you turn on the computer, So the BIOS ran the system and check everything is working or not, right?
Yep.
So how do we know that the BIOS is like, it will not check or it will stop in the middle or what?
Yeah, so there is a question here. It gives you, like I showed you, it gives you error on your screen. Let's say the hard drive is missing. It gives you error. It goes to everybody. I showed you the keyboard, right? So how about the DVD is not there? DVD is missing. How about the CPU is not there? CPU is missing. Shows you. How about the monitor itself is not working? How I'm going to see what? The error, right? So it has beeps, and this also is very important. So what is BIOS?
The first thing we hear, the beep that the computer makes.
Yep. So this is the beeps. It tells you, it depends from, it tells you if you have one beep is faulty memory. Two beeps like beep beep, another. How about too short? Beep beep means that the post, the BIOS itself is bad. So either by error you see it on the black screen or by listening. Once you listen how many. How about like beep 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 beep, 3 short and 1 long. This means the monitor. So based on it, you know which one is causing, and this call it beeps. So BIOS, it shows you the error either in the monitor and also what? You hear it. So you tell me, how about the sound card on my computer is not working? Actually, this one has nothing to do with your sound card. This is BIOS speaker. There is a speaker, tiny speaker, installed it in the computer. You don't see it. So these tiny speakers, this is the one related to what? To the BIOS errors only. It's not like the real sound card.
If the BIOS fails in the middle of a writing, so
usually it fails when you start your computer, because this is the only time it wakes up. After it checks all the hardware, it goes back and sleep.
So we have to memorize all the sounds.
No, just listen to them. How many long, how many short, and just go like BIOS beeps for HP, whatever the brand name. It shows you, gives you a table like when I showed you, and based on it, you know what's the problem. Don't feel free.
If we see there is some problem with BIOS, right? And there's an error. So how we can solve it? Like we have to use another secondary laptop, something, and download the drivers and then put it in, or what's the solution? Like how we can?
Because the BIOS, the error is not about the BIOS itself. The BIOS is about a missing device. So based on
not going further, like it will not.
It's not going. That's it. It's dead. If it's dead, that's it. You cannot replace it. You cannot do, because it requires special tools to seal it and unseal it. In this case, you have to buy a new computer, or the manufacturer send you a motherboard with the BIOS on it, but you have to install all the components. That's how. And there is a question. Like, let's say my coworker's at work, he has bad feeling towards me. He wants to ruin my computer. All the time he tried to guess my username, password, he doesn't. So he can access the BIOS, because BIOS, how can I access the BIOS from my previous class? Anyone remember? We're going to do this hands-on today. How can I access the BIOS?
Once we started, you press F1 or F12, depending on
Exactly. So what is F1 to access BIOS setting? Could be F1, could be F2, could be F anything. So once you start your computer, you will see in a very tiny, in black screen, say press F1, right? Some of you press F2 or F12 or F10. This one takes a few seconds. If you don't see it, it's gonna boot. You have to reboot again. And once you know it, next time when you turn the computer on, just keep pressing on and off F1 or escape or delete. Now it's gonna take you to what? BIOS. This is how the BIOS look like.
If you don't do it in time, tough luck.
Just start again. Keep restarting, yeah. So it takes you here, and from here, this is when you change. Remember, in BIOS, don't change things if you don't know what is it, because in BIOS there is nothing called undo. You cannot say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. It's gonna ruin. But there is a way to undo things. There are 3 ways. Let's say I change something and my computer is messed up. I cannot start it. how can I set the default for the BIOS? And this exam question. Number one, remember the battery?
So by the way, I'm just gonna stop. When he's saying this is an exam question, please make a note, because, he's telling you ahead of time that this is a question in the exam. So, most of the
But he
time.
doesn't ask the question.
Well, no, he's telling you right now. He said they're gonna ask you where do you go to reset the BIOS to factory default, something like that, right?
Mhm.
So you have to, when he's telling you these kind of things, just make a note mentally or on your notepad.
So one of the ways.
Yes, you made it mentally.
You did?
Since you know all the question, what about one science? He can put all the question and answer it for us. It's gonna be easy.
Yes, we have that. It's the examtopic.com.
No, for him.
Oh, so
No, I don't know all of them. Even if I want to go take the exam, I have to memorize some memorization. One of his students, one time he told me, brother, I'm going to give you 3,000. Can you go and take the exam for me?
No, thank
Till are you crazy? He was from China, and actually he worked for post office. He's been working, and it was Cisco class, CCNA. So they tell them if they want to move up, they have to pass the CCNA. And he couldn't. He took so many exams, and he has to keep his job. I said, no, I can't. Anyway, so how about like I need to reset? I have done some change manually. I need to reset it. How can I do that one? You remove this one for a few seconds. It's going to reset it to the default. The other one, there is something called BIOS jumpers. And this is another one. So what is?
We're gonna take a break very soon.
Yeah, BIOS jumpers.
In the next 10 minutes or so, so guys can stretch.
So in the BIOS, there are some cable like here. Do you see this one here? There is a pin here. There is like the same like fuse. Tells you like take it from these two pins and put it in the other one. Once you turn on your computer, it's gonna reset what? It's gonna here is the jumpers. Maybe here you see it better.
I have a question.
You see this guy is taking this one? So they are like 3 pins. Take them from the first two, put them in the other two. So this is gonna reset what? The BIOS. The last one to reset.
Sorry, someone had a question.
Yeah, I have a question. So
Go ahead.
in case if you want to take out the jumper, does it remove the password?
So what's the password first?
I mean,
Yep. So that I was coming to this one. So this is the jumpers. The last one, yeah, the last one. So first was what? Take off the battery, right? The second one is what? The last one is within the BIOS itself. Within the BIOS, you call default setting. Once you go default setting within the BIOS itself, if you have access to it, tells you do you want to go to default setting somewhere here. And once you say yes and you press F10 to save, that's it. Okay, last question here about it. There is two password. What is user password versus supervisor password? Anyone knows?
Admin password and user password.
User password, this is like every day when you go to your computer, your username and password, right? So remember we said in order to access the BIOS, once the computer starts, you press F1 or F2 or F3, right? In the exam, they tell you, you press F1, A, B, F2, C, escape, or depends on the motherboard. So the answer is depends on the motherboard. Some computer you press F1, some computer F2 or F12. So they are different based on the brand name. So whenever you want to access the BIOS, it depends on what? The motherboard. Could be F1 or F2 or whatever. So your coworkers now he can press F1, access the BIOS, change anything, save it. Now he ruined what? Your computer. So you need to protect your BIOS. And this is called what? Supervisor password. So you go to the BIOS and configure something called supervisor password. And then it's going to ask you to enter certain PIN or password. Once you save it, so this guy now came, he changed it. When he says save, it tells him what's the password. So now he doesn't know it, he cannot ruin your BIOS. So there are two passwords for the computer: a user password and which one is related to the BIOS? And this is exam question.
Supervisor means the admin.
No, the admin is totally different. So what's the difference? We'll talk about this in the software. Once you create a computer, like you open it, it asks you for a password for the administrator, like brand new, right? This is called administrator, which means you can create user, you can delete. How about for my kids, I create account for them. This is called standard user. So they can do their own files, but they cannot create, they cannot download unless they know my administrator password. That's the difference. So administrator is the same as a user, but more powerful, has more privilege.
So it's a supervisor password
Means for the BIOS only. It's not administrator.
Only
so
professional guy can.
Yep.
So when did we set up the supervisor password for the
You set it if you suspected like you someone at home or at work, they need to run your computer, the BIOS. This is the only time.
So they usually set it at a company. They do that because if the computer is lost or whatever, or actually, the reason why companies do it is because they don't want the users to mess with it. Like you guys are IT professionals now, and when you go there, if you try to mess with it, it tells you give us the password. And if you don't know it, tough luck.
That's why at work they never ever make the user as an admin to his computer or her computer. They make them as a standard user, so they cannot download. Like if you work as for IT help desk, most of the tickets come from viruses. Why? Because if they're admin, they download anything. They don't care, and it's virus. So you take them from the administrator and just make them standard user. They can create files, they can do anything, their computer, change the background, but they cannot download. Once they come to download, they call you. And now you have to enter the admin password.
So we have to set up the supervisor password.
You go to BIOS, and under security, you will see supervisor password.
Why don't you do it?
Enable it. And when we do hands-on, we're going to do it.
Yes, okay.
And then you set it
I
up.
was going to show him now. It's just you go to the BIOS and you'll see it.
Yeah, we'll do the hands-on. Okay, let's finish before the break. What's left here on this slide?
No pizza today.
So that's the part we covered about the CPU. We're going to cover everything. And just I'm going to talk about this one, and then I'm going to take break. We're going to talk about this part, ESD, and then we're going to take break. So for the exam, you got to know about two things, ESD and EMI. You got to know about ESD and EMI. ESD stands for what? Electrostatic discharge. Very close. And the other one, EMI, stand for? Yep. Electromagnetic.
Very good.
Interference, right? So what's ESD? What's AMI? So ESD, such as, let's say you have two containers. You have two containers. I don't know how to do two containers, but let me see if they have one good here. What is ESD? So ESD means, like, this is very clear. If you touch anything on the computer, could be especially the memory or the CPU, when you touch anything, our body has so many static built in. Like especially when you move a lot, you generate what? Static. Especially in winter, when you have this wool clothes, you generate what? Static. When you comb your hair, like every day when I comb my hair, I generate what? You're lying because I don't have hair. So, and this is, it does generates. We don't feel it. Like especially during winter, if you go to your car and you try to open it, you feel like electric. This is called a spike. Spike has heat and light. If it's nighttime, you see like a light and you feel the heat, which means I'm transferring my static to the car. Those components in the computer, they feel a tiny voltage, very small. We feel like 1,000, but they feel like a tiny. You think like you are free and you don't have static. You touch especially the memory or any golden fingers, and then you transfer your static to it. Let's say like I bought a memory, like this memory here for a laptop. Let me change the camera on. I'll turn the camera on. Yep, so these golden fingers are very sensitive to static. If you buy a memory, you touch it like this one, and then oh, it looks nice, and then you put it in the computer, doesn't work. You killed it right away. So you go back to Best Buy, tell them you sold me the bad ones, and actually you killed it. So usually they come into a bag called anti-static bag. Don't take it from there until you open the computer, you clear everything, and then once you take it, you hold it from edges. Never touch this one, and then put it on. So this, if you touch it, I'm transferring mine. I don't feel it, and could kill it right away. It could maybe work for hours or a week or 2 weeks, but it will die. And this called non-recoverable. Non-recoverable means once you did it, it's done. You can't go back and say sorry. So ESD stands for what? Electrostatic discharge. So how can I protect? So you can put this one here. This is called anti-static strap. So you put it here, and you pick any. Once you open your computer, you put this one here, like in any metals or especially in the cover. So now this is what it does. It has a lot of wires inside. It takes the static from me and move it to where? To this thing. So kind of now free me from that static. And also hold it with both hands. You do more. Don't move a lot. You have to stand on top of a rubber. Don't stand on top of a carpet. Carpet is the enemy of what? It creates more static. Work in a wooded like a bench there. Don't work in like a carpet, whatever. There is anti-static spray. So that's for ESD. So ESD means what? Electrostatic. Is it recoverable? Can you say sorry if it's done? No, it's not recoverable. The second
I have a
one we talked
question.
about is, go ahead.
So what's like the main idea, the main purpose of the electrostatic discharge?
It's when we move a lot, when we have like winter clothing, when we do, it generates static in ourselves. And this one is not good for hardwares because you move your static into the hardware and you kill it. In order to avoid, as a technician, you have to put the wrist strap, you have to work in our rubber.
Can you show them the wrist?
You have to do. Did you see the wrist strap online? Looks like a wedding ring, but bigger. So you put this one here. And this one, this clip, you put it into the cover of the PC, the one you work on.
So it's necessary to put it on the cover of the CPU.
Yeah, once you take this out, the side
Or
cover,
any model.
or any metal. And now this one, it helps to, and with it, you have to do what? Touch the mirror with your hand. Make sure you don't touch the golden finger of the hardware. The last part is EMI. Anyone remember from my previous class EMI? Can you turn the light off again? So this one is, they call it non-recoverable. AMI, this is like, let's say you live next to Dallas Airport. Dallas is like it's an airport. And you watch TV. When planes landing or take off, you see the image on your TV shakes, right? But once the airplane leaves, everything comes as good as it was. That's AMI. AMI means the airplane generates a lot of magnetic field around your house when it's very close. And this makes the data what? Shakes. But once the airplane leaves, everything comes as good as it was. So the AMI is what? Recoverable. When the source goes away, everything comes. So how is this related to IT? If you work in your computer next to microwave or dishwasher or wherever, it affects, because the microwave, dishwasher, they create what? Magnetic field. Also, if I have a computer here and a computer in the end of the room, and here I have the light, this fluorescent light. If I extended the Ethernet cable less than 13 centimeters, this exam question should be minimum of how many centimeters closer to the light? 13. So if you do it less, very close to the light, once you turn the light on, if we are watching like image, you see the image in both monitor shakes. But once you turn the light off, everything goes back as good as it was. So this is the Ethernet cable. I want to connect the computer here to the other side. You know Ethernet cable, right? Between two computers or to the switch. So we'll talk about it. We'll cover all these 8 wires, why they have different cables, why shielded, unshielded in the future. But that's AMI. So AMI is recoverable, which means when the source is away, everything comes good. What's the minimum distance for the Ethernet cable? 13. And that's you have to know about ESD and EMI just anytime when you work with a computer or a networking. Any question before we take our first break? First and last?
Can you repeat, please, what is non-recoverable for ESD? Can you repeat that, please?
Okay, ESD non-recoverable means if you touch the memory, if you touch it, the golden finger, like you see the finger of this person touching, like you see the kind of spike there. So if he touched anything, this means he moved his static from his body to this one. And this one now can't burn it. You don't feel it, but this one is damaged. ESD, once it's damaged, you cannot go and fix it. That's it, you killed it. This is called non-recoverable. But the AMI is recoverable. The same like a TV, watching TV in the airplane, makes the image shakes, but once the airplane leaves far away, everything comes as good as it was. Make sense? So this is the anti-static strap. This is, you see where he put it here? This is the anti-static strap.
So I think everybody, some of you guys are gonna able to do the wristband. I have some, I don't have a lot.
This is exactly what you need to do. See this guy standing on top of what? And even here he has a rubber with grounding.
But he has a mask on, and like it's a suit.
That's after the COVID, I guess.
He's serious, man.
It's very serious. You're not going to be like this, don't worry.
He's like a nuclear guy, man.
All customers run away from him.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
Are you making COVID over here?
Seems like he makes him pizza, making pizza there. Yes.
I see a computer shop like in Virginia. When you go inside, I don't see like a technician wearing this kind of mask or rubber something.
Yeah, mask because of the dust. They have to use the air can all the time. And we know the dust is the worst thing. It makes your computer keeps rebooting. If you just clean the CPU, it will work. Okay, so now, go ahead.
How often do you have to clean it?
It depends. It depends on how your house is clean. So if you keep opening the doors all the time, so a lot of dust. Don't undermine dust. You don't see them. So, yep. Usually, if you think like it makes noise or overheats, this clearly means dust. You buy what? Air can. Anyone knows the air can? Yeah. Just the best thing. Don't use home vacuum. This is the enemy. Why I don't use home vacuum? Because home vacuum generates what? Static. So this is the worst. And this is, they tell you the best thing to clean your computer by using home vacuum. Not use called something PC vacuum. Because the home vacuum is going to create ESD. And ESD is what? None? Which means that's it. Okay. Ahmed, it's your.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna take a break. All right.
10 minutes break. Online, 10 minutes break.